Hey, I'm Aedrana, and I'm running Chrono Trigger. And I'll explain the category in a second, but we're starting off with Casio, apparently. Oh, wait, we have to have a lowercase c. And time normally starts on Pendulum at the start of the title screen, but we're just going to do this right off the bat. And here we go. So when we describe categories in this game, the main categories are generally any percent and 100%, but this one's any percent. And it's split up into two separate categories because the final boss can be skipped, or basically the final boss that matters can be skipped. But in this category, we don't skip it because it just changes the game too much. Right off the bat, we'll do a little bit of menuing. And that's to set the battle speed to 1, which is the fastest. And the other important part right there is that I changed the what is it even called? Meow. I can't even describe what it is. The battle menu not wait. It's already set to wait. What is it even called? That's so weird that I can't remember this. No. It's wow. It's not ATB either. That's an interesting thing that I can't remember that at all. Basically, it makes us be able to do a certain thing with the fight though, where if you hold X, it actually it inputs the attack on the very first frame that's possible. Cursor memory, there it is. Cursor memory. It does the thing. Wow. I should have practiced that. Alright. Anyway. I tried to do a candy skip right there. It's just a little cutscene skip that saves 1 second, but I missed it. I don't even normally go for it in runs, but it's interesting to show off if I can.
Do you mind if I slip in with a real quick donation?
Sure.
Profnest donated $10, and okay, why not for Tamim's a robo named Ultro, because gotta have that Ultro look.
Oh, speaking of naming incentives, I want to mention this right off the bat. If you don't rename Ayla Jerry, I'll be disappointed.
We also still need to meet that Marley softlock as well.
Oh yeah, I wanted to explain what that is. Basically, the main important glitch that we do in this game is called a fade out, and I'll explain that a little bit more later. But in this room specifically, we can do a fade out to do some weird things. And it causes the game to... I won't spoil it too much, but it causes the game to softlock. I would have to do it after the run.
Okay, that's good to know, because that means we got plenty of time still if people want to meet that incentive.
Alright, moving right along. There's a lot of cutscenes in the early game, but after after those cutscenes, it gets pretty fast. There's a lot of action in this game. And most of that action comes in the form of RNG manipulation, which we already set up right at the very beginning. And the way we set that up and know what RNG value we're on is deleting all our save files. And when we do that, we call that RNG 0. And once we load up the game and go into this first fight right here, sets everything up for the rest of, up until Yakra skip, basically. Hopefully I don't mess up, because this fight is actually kind of difficult. Even though it might not look like much, because it's only 3 enemies that you attack once each. Alright, got that one down. And like I said, I'm just holding X right there for that last one, to attack on the first frame possible. Right here is a thing we call bird skip, and it's just lining up on one of 2 possible pixels, and then running straight up, and it skips an encounter that you would otherwise have to fight, or run away. And we have to do that 4 times over the course of the run. 3 of them are important. 1 of them isn't really a big deal because you just lose the time, but the other ones will actually have you lose the RNG value that you want to be on. Which is bad. Loses a lot of time. More cutscenes. Gotta love cutscenes in RPGs. If I'm yawning a lot, don't worry about that. I'm just tired. Only on 3DS. By the way, if anyone has any questions, I'm looking at chat, you can ask away. I'm not running away yet. On the PlayStation, most of the glitches work, but the most important one doesn't work, which is the fade out that I mentioned earlier. On DS, basically none of them work. SNES is, by and large, the fastest. Jerry with a J. And that's a reference to one of our runners, El Gran Jerry, who doesn't like Ayla at all. So here we learn about paradoxes and time and whatnot, but we don't care about that. We're just trying to go fast. Alright, now we got a bit of a break from the pesky cutscenes. Do a bit of fighting. A lot of these early fights are unbuffered. Basically, it just means that you're not inputting commands during like enemies' attacks and stuff, and that makes it a little bit harder to actually time things. So these first two fights basically are probably the hardest fights in terms of actual difficulty per command. On this one, a little special thing we do is we target with Luca, or Aurelie, on the enemy that's about to die, and that actually, when that enemy dies, Luca doesn't have a target anymore. So it jumps the RNG when it tries to find a new target, and that's what we call an overkill. And we do that on purpose on a couple occasions. Just to target the RNG values that we want. Hopefully I can show this one off fast, because it's really cool. There we go. Alright, our name for frog is Buddy, right? I'm pretty sure no one sniped that $250 donation.
No, nobody sniped that. Yeah, capital Buddy.
There we go. I respect that. I respect the $250 donation. I also like the Aurelie name too. Fits well. I could get that revive down there, but I don't want to because I don't like playing safe. Get Seal Saber, it's important. This is the first instance of a fade out, and that's in that situation to skip a little fanfare for getting the power tab in that room. And I guess I can explain what a fade out actually is now. When a screen transition is happening, you can actually interrupt that screen transition by opening the menu. And when you close the menu afterwards, it sort of resets the timer, so to speak. And you can just keep doing that. Oh my god, I'm stupid. You can keep opening and closing your menu to carry that screen transition. And it can skip certain triggers. And that's how we do most of our boss skips. So I ran into an extra fight there. It doesn't really matter that much, but this fight's going to be a little bit slower because I'm not on the right RNG string. Hopefully I'll get like one crit. Oh, it's so slow. Alright, we got a crit. We're good. That's not that bad. And my estimate is really generous anyway, so this isn't going to be the kind of mistake that's going to cost it a lot. So right here, we're actually gonna... I'm gonna safety save, I think, yeah. It shouldn't be a problem, but... I'm gonna combine the fade out with another thing where, I'll explain the equips that I'm doing here too in a second. When I stand on that save point and transition to a new screen, it actually doesn't have enough time to know that I'm not on the save point anymore. The save points in this game are weird in the fact that it doesn't check if you're off the, or if you're on the save point, it checks if you're off the save point. So since it never knew that I was not on a save point, I can save anywhere. And that causes this weird stuff to happen. Oh, I forgot to do the sound glitch. Oh well. And we skip Yakro. And actually, you can skip any enemy in this game if you can get them off the screen when the battle starts. Let me make them dance. But it's a little bit more difficult to get enemies off screen than that usually. Oh yeah, before I forget. In that menu that I was doing before I did the Aqua Skip, I did a little thing that we call an unequip glitch. And that does a couple of things. Normally you're not able to do that at all. And to actually do it, you have to press up and R on the same frame to trick the game into thinking that you're on a different equipment slot than you are. And once you de-equip it, it does a couple different effects. It's different on JP versus US, but we'll just describe the ones on US. If I remember correctly, it gives you 75% magic resistance on the first de-equip, and 90% on the second de-equip, which is huge. But it also doesn't it doesn't add fire resist. It only adds shadow, ice, and lightning. But an additional thing that it does on US is it actually gives you a lot of magic power also. So we're gonna do insane magic damage once we actually have de-equips on pretty much the whole party. Right here isn't oh, let me... Hopefully I did that right. You might have noticed the little GIF on the lower right corner of the screen. That's actually my metronome for reloading onto a correct RNG string. And we do... Not everyone does it, but it's pretty much the standard for reloading. And the one that I just did is between 6 and 7 count, and the first count is on the... when you press A on the pendulum screen. And that just makes sure we're on the right RNG string. That's an interesting question. I'm not sure what you're asking exactly. Oh, it doesn't really matter. It's the fact that it's 148 BPM that matters. You can start it if you press A on the if you press A on the up, that's the first count, and you just count 1, 2, 3, 4 from every movement of the GIF. Some people even do weird things like count literal fractions of seconds based on their timer, which I don't even understand how they can do that, but whatever. Or for the things we call bright and double bright loads, you can do without any timer of any kind. If you just sort of time it. For a bright load, it's the first point at which the load screen is the brightest, and for a double bright, it's like a short while after that. You can just kind of get the feel for.
Can I cut in with a rather generous donation?
Sure.
Coffin Stuffer donated $100. Thank you so much. One of my favorite games of all time. Many thanks to you for running this. Please put $60 towards the Marley Softlock, which does meet that incentive, and $40 towards Isla being called Jerry.
Yay!
There you go.
Thank you. I'm happy. For both of those. Mostly Jerry. Alright. This trial is actually important, sort of. It's not, like, hugely important, but, the way we do it is the fastest it can possibly be. And we have to, on both the questions that the Chancellor asks us, we have to do the non-standard option, the one that's not the default option. And that gives us the highest chance to get a guilty, which saves about 5 seconds. And this guy, that second guy, who said not guilty, which made it not guilty, is the only one that's random completely in this. Although it's not technically random, it's based on a frame rule, based on when you load back into this room. That's not really important to know, though. But we got not guilty, so we lost 5 seconds. It's okay, I got 5 guilties in a row past few days. And the outcome of the trial doesn't affect the story in any way or any kind of thing like that, so it's just the text boxes that change. Also, you get an ether if you're not guilty, but I'm not going to pick that up because I don't care. Yeah, I don't know. When I was a kid, I thought it was their hair, but I'm not even sure about that. A tumor. There's a new thing that we actually found at yesterday even, or maybe it was the day before that. No, it was yesterday. That can skip text boxes in this next room that we load in on. We don't know how to trigger it for sure, but it seems like it's like a really tight frame rule that we can't actually influence. But I can try it. I'll safety save. No, I didn't get it. These first 2 pipe downs that he says would... Oh, well, I got the bad version of it, which gave an extra text box. Of course. Alright, well, what we're gonna be wanting to see on this is a 60 damage roll, and that's the max damage roll, and also coincidentally the same amount of damage that will kill the garden. Exactly. And we got it, so we got a good reload. These shields you can just kind of walk between, it's not really a big deal. And we'll do a really long fade out. Focus so I don't drop this. To skip a fight in the middle of that. It's not really much faster, it's like probably 10 seconds faster, but no, not even 10 seconds. But it also keeps us on the right RNG string. Oh, cool, and we got a non-stop guard. These guys turn on a random basis, so you gotta just react to them. We get the 2 extra mid-tonics from them. One of them's kind of for safety, but it also helps with the menuing. Makes things more consistent with it. Ooh, I got a 1 fade. Just fading out. We fade out a lot of enemies that are otherwise unskippable. I could grab those mid-tonics just for safety, but like I said, I'm not really in a mood to be safe. And here comes the Dragon Tank. We're not going to skip him. This is the first actual boss that we're going to fight in the game. And like everything else so far, it's going to be manipulated. And we'll get some really nice crits out of it. They intend to execute you either way, yes. Alright, right here I'm actually going to do a little weird manipulation of the menuing to cause Chrono's attack to come out before the Dragon Tank's attack. So it actually skips an attack entirely because the head dies, so it can't attack. And then we'll finish it off with the Fire Whirl. Grab a shelter, and there's this cutscene skip that if you walk to the side of that, you skip a little trigger for a little bit of text. It didn't have a name until I started calling it jailbreak skip, when it's not really that cool, it's just skipping a trigger. And somehow the Chancellor's back up here. These guys aren't very good at chasing. They don't even run. Alright, on to the future, which... My split for this section of the game is called RNG Hell. And that's because of a specific fight that is pretty close to non-manipulatable. I think I'm probably going to go ahead and attempt the what we call slime manip, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get a good frame on it. I'll explain what it is later, but right now we're in lab 16. Just a cycle-based room. It's a little bit tough, the movement in here. And getting chests in this game is inconsistent at best. But I got a good one. We're good. Walking around a bunch of fight triggers. Happens a lot. We know where every fight trigger is, obviously, so just walking around them is pretty easy usually. Oh, I should probably mention why that even worked in that room. The very first room in Lab 16 has a weird property where the text boxes for the what are they, rats? The text boxes for the rats are on the same sort of object in the script as the fight triggers. So when you have one of those text boxes open, you can just walk over the fight triggers and they don't trigger. And we're gonna fade out an entire boss. And do a little bit of menuing in between. And Guardian skip. That's how easy that skip is. Let's try to get Swag Rat. Nope. There's a certain frame rule that you can hit on there to get the rat before he even moves, but it rarely saves time, and it's just cool looking. I'll go for Fast Bug also, I think. If I do it right. Nope, I even messed it up right there at the start. That's worth going for, it's fun. I wouldn't go for that in... A lot of people do, but I wouldn't go for that in like a record attempt. It only saves about a second. And loses a lot of time. Well, probably the least amount of time of an RNG drop, but still quite a bit of time in regards to like a record attempt. Hey, what's up, Jerry? That guy, El Gran Jerry, is the guy that I was talking about with Ayla. See, he even has an emote. He must love Ayla if he goes to the lengths to make an emote. Thanks. Oh yeah, I kind of glanced over the fact that I skipped a cutscene, or half of a cutscene basically, down in the not Protodome, Arisdome, just by fading it out. We do that a lot. We skip cutscenes a lot. We don't like cutscenes. We like going fast. There's actually a way to skip this this race right here, and it saves time if you already have a save anywhere set up. It saves like 3 seconds if you have a save anywhere already set up. But the only save anywhere close to here that we can actually get is in Arisdome, and it would take like 30 seconds just to get over to there. So Johnny Skip remains not realistic. Oh god, that was good. Well, of course, that happens a lot. Do really good at the start and then make a bad decision. Oh well, I'll just go through the ruins. I'm already off RNG anyway. So bad things have already been happening all run. Losing lots of time, but we're good. It's fine. My estimate's like way over what I need. Honestly, that Johnny race was completely 100% my fault. I just should have just kept going with the bouncing, but I decided to play it safe, which in turn actually wasn't safe. It actually lost me the race. I decided to play it safe too late, basically. Should have zigged where you zagged. Alright. Fair. Well, they're gonna get both attacks off, but oh well. Ah, wasted a crit. I might not go for Slime Minute unless it's really close on the timer, because it'll possibly lose like a whole minute, and I don't want to lose that much time after the time that I've lost so far. So there's a robot. And his name is
I was gonna say when you're ready, let me know, but it's Ultro, capital ULTRO.
Alright. And obligatory. This is, what is it even? This is, Rickroll. Ultro. Yeah, if only we had 6 characters. A lot more names could be taken then. So we'll do the default option of leaving Marl here, because not for really much of a reason except that it's the default option, so it's the fastest. Use a shelter. And go into the factory. And this is where the slimes are the worst thing in the game. Unfortunately. Gotta go through it. Really so close. Looks like I might be able to squeeze in a slamming up. Yeah, we'll be good with that. As long as I do it right. Otherwise, I'll just be doing that for no reason. Oh, it's gonna be tight. Did it already go over? It must have gone over already. Alright, well, what I was gonna do was wait in there until the in-game timer rolled over by a minute. And if you react to that in a certain way, you can pretty much guarantee 4 green slimes, which is a lot faster than other patterns that it can be. Like this. That might be too close. Yep, I got a counter. So this fight sucks. We're gonna do that. And hope that Luca actually does 2 damage, because that would be really annoying if she doesn't. And of course she didn't. So this is a bad slime fight. There's a lot left, so I'm gonna do another Cyclone. Kidding me? All these ones. We'll kill him eventually. All another one. But we killed it. That's not ideal. Because now I also have to heal and use a mid-ether. But you know what? It's a marathon. These things happen. So, for all passwords in this game, you can actually just hold down all the buttons on the controller and it'll auto-input the password for you as fast as possible. So that's pretty easy. It's nice that you can just do that in the speedrun without having to worry about doing that, like, and messing up. You know, I probably should have saved before our series, but I'm pretty confident I'm not going to mess it up enough to actually lose the fight. It's alright. So even if I hadn't messed up earlier and lost the RNG that I wanted to be on, for this fight and for the slime fight beforehand, it wasn't going to be on any kind of manipulation anyway because of how the slime fight works. And I sort of didn't really explain too well how it was, but the pattern of those 5 slimes is random based on the frame that you enter the room in. So you can have 4 green slimes, 1 green slime, or a really bad pattern like I had. Actually, it could have been a better pattern if I played it better, but I played pretty risky with it. But yeah, it's random. We don't know what kind of RNG we're going to be on. And even if we did know which slimes it was going to be, they update the RNG every time they input a wander command, I guess is the best way to describe it. So there's no way to know what kind of value we're going to be on our series. But luckily, the pattern for this fight is extremely scripted, so we can usually consistently know what we're going to be on. I'm going to focus on this. And it was bad. That was a bad double tap. We do a thing called a double tap to make sure we enter the menu as soon as possible, but also not input a command too soon. Unfortunately, I got a really bad double tap and missed it completely. So we're gonna get some extra attacks. Marathon luck. Might need to actually use an extra mid-tonic here. I'm gonna risk it for a second. I really shouldn't. No, I'm not gonna risk it. That would be in the end of the run, basically. Oh, I could have risked it. Alright, not the cleanest. But not a dead run. And that's all you can ask for. So now we're out of RNG hell. And now for the rest of the game, ideally, we should know what RNG value we'll be on. but there's always little mistakes that cost that type of thing. And even there's actually a randomness in Masamune later, but we actually figured out how to, or I actually figured out how to fix it without losing too much time. So hopefully, if we do get the what we call Masa Troll, I can fix it. I could just go with the Fire Punch strat, but it's 4 seconds slower and I don't want to be slow. Oh, another thing to mention is a lot of the movement in this game is just little optimizations to get the party into closer to the position where they will be for said cutscene, and it can save anywhere from like a quarter of a second to like 2 seconds, and that adds up a lot over the run. And that's the difference between a good runner and a top runner. So here's Specchio. He's a cool dude. He's gonna give us magic, and we're not even gonna follow his instructions. But he doesn't care. He wants us to go around the room, but we're actually only gonna go in the corners, because that's faster, and that's where the triggers are. And also, I wasn't thinking about magic that whole time, so that's another thing that I'm not following. Hey, what's up, Boos? And let's see if we can get the hardest trick in the game. Specchio skip. Alright. Oh, I was tense. I'm a god. I skipped Specchio. Any non-standard option, a non-default option in a text box can be really annoying to actually do properly. But realistically, that's a meme. Oh. Doing things without even realizing that I'm doing them. That's called Cake and Dash, where we do a thing that we do not too often in the run, but enough. And it's called a swap glitch. When you switch your character's order in a party, it actually gives your character back control. So we use that a couple times. Sometimes it doesn't really affect anything because some cutscenes and some triggers take control away from you more than once. But in some cases, it can just skip cutscenes and stuff, or skip little text boxes and stuff. Skipping fights here. Lots of skipped fights. When you're in your tech menu or item menu, running away actually works. It still increases the invisible bar that you can't see. Wow, invisible that you can't see. It increases the bar even when you're in the menu if you hold L and R. So we use that in run away earlier than we would normally be able to, and we call that a menu trick. And here's another boss skip. Safety save. And I'll explain in a second. And I skipped Tech Run. So what that's doing is if you can somehow save past a trigger, then you can skip that trigger, obviously. And the way we save past that trigger is, first of all, we get a save anywhere, which I've already mentioned that earlier, but we get a save anywhere. And then the objects in the script are on sort of a frame cycle. It only pulls for if you're on the trigger every few frames. So if you can sneak past and save just on the tile ahead of it, then it won't actually trigger before you can save. And that's what we use for that and Zombor skip, which is coming up in a little bit. And this is the glitch gauntlet, basically. There's lots of glitches. This is another one, into time save anywhere. This relies on a few things, but basically, at its basic level, you line up in a certain way, and if you do everything right, you'll be able to open your menu during that, and then we do a swap glitch and are able to walk over to that save point, and we get a save anywhere that way. It's a little bit too long to explain like the specifics of it, but that's also sort of a mini Lavo Shell skip, which is not allowed in this category, obviously. It's no LSS, which is Lavo Shell skip. Now we're just getting a little bit of story triggers to advance the story. Yep, Lavos Shell skip. And that's I explained it earlier a little bit, but it's basically a wrong warp that makes you spawn past or in the transition into Lavos. So you skip the entire shell gauntlet. We're not doing that in this category though. Now we're gonna do we're heading back to the bridge again, and we're gonna do basically the same thing as Hecarim skip, except we're gonna change direction at the same time and walk into the guard, apparently. Got the first one, and then there's a second half. It's not over yet. I think that should be good, but luckily I made a second save just in case. Alright, we're good. We're through Zombor. That's Zombor skip. I mean, who? We never even see him. Yeah, it's actually just Ozzy skip. There was no Zombor there. Oh yeah, this is a cool little glitch coming up. We save in this little crevice right here, and right now I'm just resetting the RNG basically to be something I know. And then we just kind of clip through the mountain. It's cool. It's called Tata skip. Skips a cutscene and two fights actually. So also, like I said, on that reload, I now know what RNG value that I'm on based on, oops, that's fine. Based on, can't English. Based on the damage value that I hit on the enemy right there. And it hit a 195, so I did a certain order of attacks to make sure, or a certain order of actions to make sure it goes the way I want and I know what RNG value I'm on. I can't believe people know what Radical Dreamers is. I didn't know about it until Red Slash started talking about it in Discord. Anyway, if you're familiar with this game casually, there's a lot of fights in this mountain, and I skipped them all just by walking around them. Fast bird, please? Nope, I don't think so. Nope, didn't get fast bird, so I have to wait for him to do his little rock throw before I walk up to the ladder. Reset for fast bird, yep. So, here's Masa and Mune, or Moon, whatever you want to call them. They're not even called anywhere near that in Japanese version, so you can't really hold that as an argument either. And of course, we're manipulating. So I know exactly what is going to happen in the fight, but this fight is different than a lot of other ones in the fact that, or not this one, but once they fuse, there's actually there's a small chance that the fused version can randomly attack a party member when they're not supposed to. And that's just based on the pixel positions of the party. And if that happens, you have to do a whole weird thing to actually fix it. And it goes completely off script and you have to reload after it to get back on RNG. I do have a fix for it now, but it still loses a lot of time. And this is the first fight, really, where you really have to input your commands during animations, or things will go south fast. Things are very precise in this fight. It's not really that hard once you know how to do it, it's just, if you don't know how to do it, then it can be rough. Alright, and Masa's about to attack Chrono, and during that moment, I'll know... Alright, it's on good ATB. There's still a chance that it trolls, but it's less likely. Alright, we're good. We're safe. Marl ended up being called Edward. We'll have Chrono attack 2 more times and then do a fire punch and it'll be done. The R is actually capital for some reason. I'm not really sure why they have that like that, but, you know, that's what they donated for. Yeah. Easy every time. I actually PB'd last night and got trolled by Masa. But I still got only 7 seconds slower than world record. So now everyone has to live with me having that in the run. So yeah, that early game is not indicative of how good I am at this game. I just fucked up. Oh, sorry. That's my bad. Did not mean to say that. Banned. Sorry. It won't happen again. Can, can, can I get the de-equips, please? Alright. Not saying it again. So basically, we just bought a bunch of things and de-equipped the other party members that we have so that we can also sell things so that we can de-equip more things. It basically, that's the point at which the run is pretty well safe at this point. Even if things go wrong, you should be able to finish most of the fights without problem. Except for once we get to the final shell. Another little group up thing where we optimize the movement there to make sure the party members are in better positions for the start of the cutscene. It's a short cutscene, but still, it saves time. I haven't been really talking about the story of this game. I'm not really good at talking about the story while I'm running. I'm more interested in what the actual things that I'm doing in the game are for speedrunning. Although, if you haven't played Chrono Trigger, you're gonna want to play it because it's a really, really good casual game. One of the best of all time. PSA, please play Chrono Trigger. Have we even talked to Melchior yet? I don't think so. This is the first time we're talking to Melchior. We saw him back at the Millennium Fair, but this is the first time we're actually going over to see him. And we don't want to see him, so we're just gonna fade out his cutscene. And then go straight into 65 million BC, where we'll meet. No spoilers. We'll meet a character. The way I close that text box is actually very important. Because it sets up the actual movement of the reptiles here. And it lines up for that first slash really well. And we just do a little antipode on the last three that are up. And reminder, I'm still manipulating their RNG. So there's a character. Who is that?
For Isla, it is Jerry, capital Jerry.
Nice.
I know
Gosh.
you're very pleased.
Yeah. Alright, the J's over here. So I might be banned off of the leaderboard now. Already banned. I wasn't the one that donated for it. I just put the idea in people's minds. Oh, should we use Marl or Edward or Robo? Do we want to see dancing? All right, we'll see dancing. Non-optimal. We gotta basically wait for Marl to start, or Edward to start dancing, and then we can talk to her and then advance the story. She takes a little bit longer than Robo, that's why we normally use him. And unfortunately she's off screen, so we can't even see her really that well. Oh well. You can kind of see her head there. Good enough, right? I'm challenging Jerry. The timing of this actual soup race doesn't really matter because it's always the same amount of time, but you do have to win to continue. So you just basically mash as hard as would win. Which isn't that much. Yeah, soup with quotes. And I think I'll have to move the party. Normally we would just mash B to close the menu here. But my party's all messed up from having Marl in the party. And you might have guessed it, but we're gonna do another cutscene skip. Because we don't like cutscenes in this game. So we skip Kino. Kino fade. And this is another area where if you don't know where all the enemies are, it's really easy to get caught up and trigger an extra fight or something, but it's not really hard when you know where they are. Quick shelter, and we're headed into Reptile Lair. That 34 damage on Chrono signifies we're on the right RNG value, but we pretty much already knew that. And that's the first enemy where the shock mechanic comes into play. Any dinosaurs in this game, when struck by lightning, will take extra damage and be stunned and not be able to attack. And that's useful for Nizbel. Well, otherwise you pretty much wouldn't be able to beat him anyway, or it would take forever. But we actually take advantage of a lot of crits in this fight for Alo, who has a really high crit rate on top of having a Berserker on, so she's gonna do tons of damage. Jerry, sorry. Jerry's gonna do tons of damage. The timing on that lightning is actually really important. If I do it too early, then Nizbel can get an extra attack off at the end. If I do it too late, he can get an extra attack off at the beginning. And it just loses a little bit of time either way. And we time it to where we know that Chrono's going to be up right when a zap is happening. Although in this route we only get one zap. And just one more crit from Jerry. Oh, not a crit. It must be on the wrong crit cycle, but it still does the same amount of damage overall. It just means that the first crit was earlier than that. Normally I know what the crits are, but sometimes on certain fights it can be a little bit finicky. We come at this fight at a certain angle to make sure those two dinos plus those two kill wallows join the fight. Otherwise, we get an extra encounter overall, and it throws off RNG. And that Berserker is really hard to get sometimes. Chests in this game, I don't know about other games, I think it's the same pretty much everywhere. Chests are stupid in RPGs. It's really hard to pick up things from chests when you're trying to go fast. We'll see Melchior again. We'll see him a little bit more this time. But we're still gonna skip a little bit of his dialogue, because it's faster. Forgot that I have Marl in the party, but it shouldn't be a big deal. Oh, a thing that I didn't touch on too much, but I did demonstrate it. When you push, when you like run into an NPC, when they're doing an animation, it can either, let me do this to speed it up. I have the wrong party members, so it's not as good as it could be. But I know how to sort of fix it. When you walk into an NPC when they're doing an animation, it can either speed it up by a little bit or speed it up by a lot. Sometimes if they're in certain animations like walking, it can slow it down, but generally if they're stationary, it'll speed it up. And that's what we did way back over in Yakra Skip, when we pushed Yakra to make him spin faster, and it saves quite a bit of time on that one. In the Melchior cutscene just now, it doesn't save as much time, but it's still definitely important to do it. Now I'm gonna be really careful with this bird skip is one of the more important ones to not miss, because throwing off RNG right in this area is kind of time consuming. So I'm gonna play it safe and frame buffer from really far away, or pause buffer rather. If you're pressing, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. You move and you pause, and it moves less pixels than if you were just to not do that and just walk. And you can, if you practice it, you can pretty much consistently get a 1 pixel movement. Alright. Now, these are the frog cutscenes, and that's about 7 minutes of cutscenes and stuff. So if you have any donations, that would be a great time.
I do not, but I can talk about some of the upcoming stuff we've got going on. So, coming up after this run is going to be Lufia 2 Ancient Cave. And currently, we do have some rolling incentives going for that at the moment, because we're rolling until the beginning of Elison's run. So, if you want to pick the 4th character, currently Tia is in the lead with $5. Blaze for the Capsule Monster is in the lead with $50. And the name for Blaze is currently Slinky with $10. So if you don't like any of that, or you just want to bolster those numbers, you can feel free to go ahead. Tomorrow morning, after the Roto Relay, we have Link to the Past Randomizer, which is going to be run by myself, Natara, and Keishura. Currently, there are no file names for us to use, but the top 3 sprites currently are Ultros with $132.98, Papoy from Secret of Mana with $71.69, and Sailor Moon with $25. If you'd, again, like to shore those numbers up, or maybe you want to choose the Pug or Phoenix Wright or Magus sprites for us, you can do that as well. Also, tomorrow, we have Final Fantasy Legend being run by Omega Number. And there is a donation for Everything is Melting Percent. And now I don't know what that is, but it sounds pretty neat. And unfortunately, it doesn't have anything donated towards it as of yet. So that is a $75 incentive coming up tomorrow. We still have 2 more awesome days full of stuff for you folks. So if you want to donate to one of those incentives, or maybe one of the ones that are closer to the end of the run, feel free to go ahead. And thank you again for all of your ridiculously awesome support.
Almost done with the first half. If we could find a way to skip this cutscene, I would do it every time for sure. Even if it was like a pixel frame perfect thing. I know I'm not. I'm probably the only one that wants to completely get rid of it, but I definitely want to. So there's the first frog cutscene. But don't get too ahead of yourself, because there's another one. Like, immediately. As soon as we enter this magic cave. There's another one. But this one's a little bit better, because it has a certain thing in it. A certain line that a lot of people like. I'm sure Jerry's ready with the emote. You're a marshmallow, Glenn. There it is. So Frog's basically, or Glenn or Buddy, is basically saying he couldn't hurt a fly, but then he turns into a frog. So it's kind of ironic. Don't eat Buddy. He's a buddy. We haven't even gotten to that cutscene yet. Spoilers. We're almost there. Alright. And now, about 40 seconds from now, I'll have control again. And it'll be past the cutscenes. But it's also a pretty cool cutscene. It's weird as a speedrunner, seeing cutscenes and seeing people being excited about them. But that's only because I've seen them like hundreds of times. I didn't use magic, Frog, buddy. I could play it safe, but I'm not gonna. I can get past Slash. You know what? I should probably save. Just in case. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and save. It'll take like 2 seconds to save. It's not hurting anything. The silence here is intentional, by the way. There's just no music in this area, or sounds. And sound again. Ozzy says there we're gonna fight 100 enemies, but I don't want to fight 100 enemies. That would take a long time. I think it's around 30, 35-ish that we actually fight, or even including the ones that we run away from. Berserker. And we de-equipped Frog's helm just to have him survive Magus' attacks later. I wonder how many people in here think that Flea is a really hard boss in the run. They think, oh, he has a bunch of confusion and sleep and counterattacks and stuff. He's probably the hardest boss in the speedrun, right? But he's not going to do any of that. Yes, he. He in fact does say that, quote, I'm a guy. So Frog's just gonna hit him a lot. 16 times, in fact, before we input commands. It's just gonna happen. Flea's just gonna stand there laughing. I don't actually count here. I'm actually just waiting for 154 damage roll and then a crit after that. There's the 154. And then a crit, robo attack, and a chrono slash. And then one more frog attack and a chrono attack, and it'll be done. Rip Flea. Attacked exactly once. So, I didn't really touch on exactly what was happening in there. The reason that that happens is not 100% understood, but basically, as far as the most knowledgeable that we have about it is, we think that Flea sort of has a weird targeting mechanic that is buggy and doesn't target things properly. And on certain RNG values, he can just miss, or not choose a valid target, rather. So it just so happens that Frog's speed is the exact amount that we need during this point. So he just, for the entire fight, doesn't choose a valid target. Slash is not so easy. Slash is actually a bit hard to keep everything in line, because I'm obviously manipulating, like I said, but it's a long script on Slash in 2 parts, and it's not too hard to mistime something or like think you're on a different line. It shouldn't be a problem, but sometimes things can go wrong. We'll finish it off with an attack by Frog, buddy. And then, even if Chrono dies there, it doesn't really matter, because you don't get XP on that first part of the fight, so it doesn't really matter. I need to be sure that I'm not on Ether when I do this. So my mid-tonic is in a different place than I'm used to. And for the second half, we basically let Frog dictate the pace of this fight. He does most of the damage in this fight. And Slash, I don't think Slash likes Robo Ultra, so he's gonna slash him twice. Just for good measure. And that's just a funny coincidence that he attacks him twice. Almost done. Get a counter on this one, and it'll bring him down to almost no health. Spin cut. And last attack. And slash is no more. I always like the fights where you end up on really low HP. Right here, we're just gonna run away 4 times in a row. On this first one, I set X Strike for Frog. For the final fight before Ozzy, that's how much that's not even the most in advanced thing we do setting up for later fights, but it's one of the examples that's pretty easy to see. And for some reason, you can just run away from a bunch of these fights. One of the good things about this run, in my opinion, is that you don't really fight that many random enemies. Most of the fights in this game are bosses, and that's really cool. Alright. There's that. I'm gonna be really reckless on this room. 50-50 chance. Or not this room, next room. 50-50 chance that I fall into the trapdoor, but I'm gonna take that risk. We're good. If you know this room from casual playthrough, there's like 6 different trapdoors in that room that you can run into, and I just took that incredibly unsafe. Actually, got really close to getting a rolly push there. So there's a bunch of more enemies that we just kind of walk past. So for some reason, the developers didn't add a flag for this fight to make it to where you can't run away from it, so you can just run away from this one in the middle. But not you can't run away from the first or the third one in the room. It's kind of weird. This is another one of those fights that's kind of tricky because all the moves are unbuffered. That was another example of the overkill that I talked about in the beginning of the game, where you target an enemy that's going to die, and then they die, and then because of that, the party member has to find another target, and it advances RNG. Yo, thanks for stopping by, Booze. And in this case, the only reason we do that on this fight is so that we actually don't get a crit. We manipulate it to where we get a normal attack here, because it's like a tiny bit faster, like less than a second faster. And we don't need a crit for this fight. And again, I'll reiterate again, we're on a manipulation. I know which damage values are going to happen on each of these cranes, and the way we know that we're on the right value to actually go into fighting Magus is that this last one is a 119. And if we know that, we don't have to reload or anything. And I didn't take any damage going up from slash to here, so I don't have to heal or anything either, but I am going to take a safety save. Switch to Robo. Safety save. Yeah, unfortunately we don't, in any percent, we don't go to Ozzy's Fort, so we won't be seeing many cats in this run. So for Magus, there's two strats, basically, that you can take. The standard strat, the fastest strat, is the one that I'm using. But there's another one that most beginners should probably start off on because it's a lot easier. And it's only marginally slower. And I started off on that one. This one is really finicky. There's a lot of unbuffered attacks in it. And if you get off by just a tiny bit, it adds maybe an extra dark matter, maybe an extra revive that you need to do. And it gets you off RNG and you have to reload. It can be really a big time loss. But I'm gonna try not to lose that. It's a really cool fight if you actually see it. Goes by really fast after you get to the second phase. And we're going to be manipulating 2 shadow barriers and then 2 lightning barriers. And then after that it'll switch over to phase 2. If you're not aware on the basic level, the way Magus' fight works is that you can only deal damage with the element that he just used. So I can only deal damage with physical or lightning. Second lightning barrier. And we manipulate a lot of crits in this fight too for Frog. He does quite a bit of damage in this. And now, this is one of the trickier parts of the fight. I have to switch over back to Chrono. And that was really slow. Well, now I will. Making little mistakes. Could not matter. Nope, it did. So, good chance that I'll have to do... you know what, I'll see if I can fix it by doing the backup strat. I don't normally do it, but could be worth it. We'll see. It's gonna be tight. The good thing with this is if I do get an extra dark matter, I won't kill it with Frog being dead. Well, I just messed up even further, so I'm definitely getting extra dark matter. Oh well, it's alright. The ATB was messed up a little bit, so Chrono's attack came out when it should have been a slash or a lightning. That should kill it. It's alright. So I'm gonna... Nah, I don't have to be. I'm not gonna go up. Normally, normally I would take a bathroom break here, but I don't really have to right now. This is one of the basically two input breaks that are long enough to take a bathroom break in the run. The other one being Flea, but it's a little bit shorter. So now would be a good time for donations or anything like that.
Sure. Well, there are no donations. But again, I'm going to remind you that we're all here for RPGs we love too, raising money to get our Valkyries to RPG Limit Break in May. And y'all have blown our expectations away. We even had to raise the goal a little bit. So at this point, we're trying to pay for flights in addition to those wonderful rooms that you have so graciously funded for us. And there are plenty of incentives that still need some love, right? Because this is RPGs we love. So coming up after this run is going to be the Lufia 2 Ancient Cave Race. Currently, the fourth character is Tia with $5. The Capsule Monster is Blaze with $50, and the Capsule Monster's name is Slinky with $10. So if you like those and you want to bolster them, or you don't like those and you want to vote for something else, you can totally do that. We still have some time on that. And then tomorrow morning, after the Roto Relay, there is the LTTP Rando race with myself, Natara, and Keishura. We still don't have any file names. And for K, you can totally put down something in katakana or hiragana. The top three sprites at the moment are Ultros with $132.98, Papoy from Secret of Mana with $71.69, and Sailor Moon with $25. But if you don't like those choices, you can choose the Pug or Phoenix Wright or Magus. I mean, we just saw him in that fight. He's pretty awesome, right? So yes, you can totally donate towards those. There's still other names to be had. There's Melting Percent, whatever that awesome sounding thing is for Final Fantasy Legend tomorrow. There's the donation incentive for Sloa to fight Apollo during the crosscode run. There's so much awesome stuff still going on during these last 2 days or so. So if you want to get in on that, you still got time to do so.
Awesome. Alright. During that, we just did a little cutscene skip by fading out. It was probably equal with the next fade out that we're gonna do, but it's really easy to drop it mid fade out, and it loses way more time than you want to lose for such a simple drop. Luckily, we didn't do that. We just lost a bunch of time on Megas, that's all. Coming up in the next room, if we can get to the next room without getting any extra fights, which we can't. Coming up in the next room, there's a, you know how I mentioned the bird skip is a 2-pixel trick? This one's a pixel perfect trick. We line up there and then move 2 pixels to the left. There's other setups for it. Basically, that's my setup for it that I use. That is in Jerry's tutorial. Jerry is a good tutorial maker. He's how I learned how to run this game in the first place. That's another one. There's 2 in that place. They're called the dactyl skips. They skip dactyls. Or they skip dactyls on the second one. The first one's just in the dactyl nest. Anyway, they're pixel perfect tricks. Basically, you line up on the pixel and run straight up, and you skip them. Any other pixel, if you go to the right too far, then you just run into the wall and nothing happens. And if you go too left, then you trigger the fight.
Can I slip in with a real quick donation?
Of course.
Vinicus donated $6. Donation towards Salon as the 4th character in Ancient Cave. Gotta vote for the true best girl, Kappa. I don't know about you, but I like Salon. Magus waifu world.
Alright. Now we're going to the Tyranno lair. With the longest menu in the game, hopefully I do it fast, because menus are my strong suit. There we go. That was pretty decent. It would be embarrassing if I messed up that when I practiced that a lot. Certainly not as crazy as like that FF9 blindfolded menu at GDQ. That was pretty insane. But you know, that game also has less, the time between inputs in that game for menuing is shorter, so you can theoretically go a lot faster with it. But there's like buffering in this game that you can't get around. Alright. I'm gonna be crazy. I'm gonna try button skip. This is not advised ever, but it can save a couple seconds. I don't even think it saves 2 seconds, but I missed it. Basically, you go above the button, but below the trigger, enough to where you trigger the fight, but you move past it and go into the door. And it's extremely precise and inconsistent. There's, I think, 6 triggers for fights in this room that I just ran around. A lot of the movement in this game doesn't seem very impressive, but when you actually know where the triggers for the fights are, it's a little bit different. And technically she could hit for 129 right here, and it would still be on RNG, but I have no way of knowing that, and apparently I'm not on the right RNG sequence. So I'm gonna reload to set back up on that. I'm gonna use a shelter also first. Do a bright load. 6. And again, for anyone who didn't know, that little Zeal gif in the corner of the screen is what I'm using to reload there. And I did a 6 count there for a bright load. And that just lets me know that I'm on the right RNG now. And even more so, that's not right. Interesting. I must have not mashed fast enough, I guess. Yeah, I wanted that to be up there to where people actually know what I'm talking about when I mention the reloads. Alright. Let's actually mash fast enough. This is embarrassing. So, this might actually be caused by the fact that this is a different GIF than I used to use. It might actually be faster enough to actually change the RNG value there. So I just now did it without using the metronome that time. Hopefully that's better. Should be either 195 or 189. 189, we're good. All right, we're back on track. Everything's not lost. And you may have noticed that I was fading out there. That was to fade out Nisbel too. So that's another boss skip. But that's the last boss skip that we'll be doing. Unless you count the final bosses, but I'm technically fighting them. No spoilers there yet, though. I'll just let you think about that. Alright. This is the longest single fight in the game for no LSS. If you count /1 and /2 as the same one, I think it's about the same. But this fight is long. It's really easy to lose track of where you are in the fight and use the wrong attack or something. basically we have Ayla berserked. Jerry berserked. Because she's really useful berserked. She'll do a lot of damage over the course of the fight. And just in between those attacks, we'll be using mostly Ice Sword, but some slashes and attacks from Chrono. Rock! So you might be wondering why I didn't heal Marl there. But now I did. Close too. She almost died. There's actually a time at the very end of the game where one of the characters survives with 1 HP. Oh, is the sound desynced with the video, I guess? I can fix that in a second. On basically the last important fight, Chrono survives with 1 HP, and it's a little Monka. Hope nothing goes wrong. I did that in a different order than normal. Actually, that's pretty bad. This could be off. I'll survive either way. After this fight, I'll be able to do that. Yeah, I'm probably off RNG already. But it doesn't really matter. This fight can be finished either way. Barbecue. Not gonna be super safe with this. It'll still probably come down to the wire. But you know what? The estimate's really big. It should be fine. Thanks. Now, do I play it safe? Do I heal? Or do I not? See, it's kind of funny because people might think that I'm messing around, like I'm just joking, that it's on a manipulation, but I literally am not. Yeah, I'm healing. I have no idea if it's gonna... Oh, I killed it. I didn't have to heal. Marathon luck in the opposite direction. Normally it would count at 1, and then at the last possible time, you would kill it. Literally within a couple ticks of ATB. It's a little cooler to see, but you know what? I killed it. Still going fast. Just not as fast. Oh, right. Need to reset the capture card. Should be good now. So Jerry tries to save Ozla. They don't wanna be saved. Oh man. Just leveled a mountain. Thanks, Lavos. Thanks, Obama. The heck kind of emote is that? What is that? Spiky ball of some kind. The level of the mountain is now 0. Oh, okay. Let's head into this portal that just showed up after Lavos hit the ground. It's a good idea. Literally no idea where it takes us, but we're gonna go anyway. Remember to put the power glove on Ayla. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty fair. So we're about to hear the song of her people. One of probably top 3 song in the game, I'd say. Tied with the other 2 that are top. Unfortunately, we don't hear most of the other 2 that I like, which is Undersea Temple or Undersea Palace and Black Omen. Sorry, we're not going there. Maybe next year I'll do 100%. Oh. Alright. But we do have to do one side quest, and this is the trigger to actually load that side quest in the first place. And that makes us be able to do the Sunken Desert and get the Green Dream, which is vitally important to the run. And this is the music. I'll sit in the room for a second afterwards just to hear it a little bit more. Normally we'd only hear it for like a second into the actual good part. Alright, let's keep going. Good song, but we got fast to do. Meow. The leaderboard for Chrono Trigger has cats as their badges for first, second, and third place. And I have Alphador. Something to mention, not super important right now, but that point where you charge the pendant in the Mammoth machine right there is the last point at which you can turn back and do Lavo Shell Skip. In true 80%, we would turn around right when we got the quest for Sunken Desert. And that's just to make sure we can get all the portals in a quick manner so that we can do the skip. Alright. Golem's a pretty hard boss. Gotta time things real perfectly. Oh. That was slightly wrong. Orb. Ah, whatever. Orb.
Orb!
Oh man, I mistimed everything. I died. That wasn't supposed to happen. Yeah, might as well reset at this point, honestly. I hope no one thinks I'm serious. Meow. So what we have left in the game is basically we had a way to Lavos way back in as soon as we got to the end of time, first time. But Lavos is kind of strong, so we didn't want to do that early. And also we wouldn't have a way to beat the final parts of Lavos. So we went further. Pretty much right now, technically we could beat the boss. But first we're gonna take a little detour to get a couple items that that make it a lot faster. Yeah, we're not actually going here. Sorry. We don't like Epoch. Hashtag any percent. First detour that we're going to take is we're going to go to Medina. Back to Medina, and we're going to get the most powerful sword in the game for Chrono that we can get in a reasonable time, and that's the Swallow. And the only reason we even go that far into there is so that we can get the pendant charged, so that we can open the pyramid. And you might have guessed, we don't like cutscenes, so we're gonna skip it. That's a theme. Fading up cutscenes. Don't get left box. That's Rip Run. And then the last thing before Lavos that we're gonna get is the Green Dream. And that's through the Sunken Desert cutscene. Not cutscene. The Sunken Desert side quest. So mixed up with cutscenes that I even mix it into my other words.
Do you mind if I announce a quick donation?
Go ahead.
Sweet. So, Scala donated $7.77. Always got to donate in honor of CT True Best Girl. This goes towards naming case file in Z3R Girabato. You, Scala. Girubato. I can words today. Really, I can.
You sure?
I think so.
Alright, so we're off RNG, so we're gonna have to reload. This one is really hard. We have to make sure that we don't see anything on the screen go that fast. It's basically the first three frames. That one might work. It's safer to not even worry and just keep trying until you get a black screen, but there is a chance that it works even without that. With one more frame past it. We'll know on this attack, the first attack on this fight. If it's a 624, then we're good. We're good. This area can be a little bit tricky if you don't know exactly the timings that you need to work with. Because if you attack a little bit too early sometimes, things can go wrong, especially on, say, this next fight. Where if you attack right away, the targets that you want won't be lined up the way you want them. And you'll target the wrong things. And yes, this miss is on purpose. These guys have really high evasion. So it's actually pretty important to manipulate this area in general, because pretty much like half the time you'll miss these guys. So you have to have a good script to hit enough to actually kill them. This Lapis. We got this fight up here. And these are some of the few fights in the game that we actually fight that we don't technically need to fight. That's pretty much to get a haste for Edward. Do a fade out to fade out of the starting cutscene of this place. Makes it easier to get to the fight. During that, I'll put on bandana. Ooh, we got a good one. He can pop up either left, or top left, top right, bottom left, or bottom right, and this is one of the better ones. Actually, it might be the best one, I'm not 100% sure. Anyway. We'll see a lot of spin cut and cat attack on this fight.
Can I cut in with one more donation?
Go ahead.
Drumboard has donated $1.23. Dagnabbit, I hate the uneven numbers. Put this towards the Simon Belmont sprite in Zelda 2. Whip it good. Thanks, Drum.
Alright. Basically from this point on, there's a lot of fights in this game from this point on that need to be unbuffered attacks. And that's just because there's so many things that can go weird in these fights that you need to have as fast wow, I can't speak right now. Your inputs need to be as fast as possible, or things can kind of be weird. Like this. I actually messed up here. Hopefully it still works out, because this fight's not super tight, but I'm having some weird orders of attacks here. Hopefully the legs die here. They didn't. Alright. Play it safe and heal Chrono there. It is off RNG again, if you were wondering. This could be bad. I should honestly reset and reload right now. I'm just gonna reload. That's not worth losing that kind of time too. Because once the core is dead, the head just kind of goes crazy and attacks over and over and over again and kills things left and right. It's just better to restart and try again. No big deal though. At least I got the reload pretty fast. I mean, it was a mistake on my part, basically. I fell off the timing that I needed for the spin cuts, and so I was a little bit too slow to get to the certain part where the legs die, and the head absorbed too many times and killed the core. We're back at the fight again. I'll fade out again. And try him again. I'm gonna focus this time a little bit more. Alright. We're back to where we did that before, but we actually got to the point that I messed up on without messing up. So now we just need that leech. And then the legs will die. And then a bunch of spin cuts and cat attacks to finish him off. Alright. And it'll be a leech. And then cat attack on the core, and he should be dead. Alright, that went a lot better. We're actually in there again. Got a bunch of items over in this area. They're really late game items, and we're not really... Our characters aren't really in late game right now because we haven't even gone to Undersea Palace. But there are a bunch of late game items that we take full advantage of. Grab one of those, because I also grabbed the Hyper Ether, which I normally wouldn't. And then one last stop. Well, I guess two last stops. We need one more elixir that we're going to get in the castle in 1000 AD. And then we need the Green Dream, which is from the cutscene after this. So we're just about ready to wrap it up. I've already mentioned the Green Dreams are extremely important, or the Green Dream is extremely important to the run later in the game, right at the end. But the elixirs are actually connected to that. You can't really do one's effect without the other in the speedrun sense. There is actually a way you can forego the Green Dream, but you'd have to go way later and get Lifeline, which would take a long time. And we get a sight cap really quick, and that's to lock status for Ayla later. So just heading into the last few little bits of story that we need to go by. This would be profound if you had long enough to actually read the text. Alright, new incentive. Save or kill Lara. Of course. It's faster anyway, so don't worry. I wasn't gonna kill her. She doesn't die anyway. She just loses her leg or her ability to walk. Luckily, the morally right choice is the faster choice also. Ultros is so sweet. Alright, alright. But serious time. Serious time. We're going into Lavo Shell. This is the reset split. This is where you lose 20 minutes at a time if you mess up. This is serious time. No joke. Just skip the shell. That would be hard. I would have to go all the way around and get the extra portals. That would take so long. You might have heard of an attack called Falcon Hit. We're gonna use it a few times in the shell fight. Just a few. Just like 20. Oh my. Alright. Serious focus time. This is a hard fight. Gauntlet. I'll probably get extra attacks on this one. I got a bubble. Should be okay, but loses a bit of time. Has to get extra attacks in. Sorry, I think I hit the mic there. Alright. Watch your slash. Not a perfect hack round, but you know. It's not the end of the world. .401. That's not 401. That's gonna be a reset. Alright, it wasn't near the end of it. It's not the end of the world. I mean, it sort of is the end of the world because it's Lavos, you know, because he ends the world. Get it? Jerry not run, Jerry fight. We all know Jerry will fight. Except Marl. That should be much better. I definitely feel a lot better when I don't get a bubble than when I do. I'm not really used to doing it off of an extra slash. Alright, this time it should be 401. 401. Scar. Full ether. Crit for 10, or not crit. Hit for 1080. Falcon hit for 1080. Alright. Here is probably the hardest fight in in Lavo Shell Magus. Ice Sword. Marl, we're gonna go Slurp. My sword. Barrier change, but it's not changing because we're manipulating ice. Frog attack just at the right time. Chrono attack, and then a Chrono Ice Sword. Alright, we got it before the spell, so that means we're on track. But it's not over yet. And then we need to switch over to Chrono without using Frog Attack. Alright. Shell Magus is done. Probably the hardest one, but there's another hard one coming up right after this with Shell BT, Electrino. And I'm just gonna be super safe and heal even though I technically don't need to because I got perfect stuff. Just in case. Flame. Flame. Haste Chrono. This one's a little scarier than the other one. Chomp. Haste Ayla. Or Jerry. And right now we're just waiting for him to drop his defense. He'll eat Marl. She'll be dead. We don't need her right now, so it's fine. Being super careful. You do this 9 times. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9, and then I need to do an attack with Jerry, and then a spin cut. And we should be good. Shell Gigagaya. Gigas. Gigas. You know how it is. Lapis. Go Gigaga Gigo. I know Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Giga. Whatever. I'm done. I think they even made a new one recently. So this fight is the same as Black Chrono, but it's much easier. It's not nearly as tight. You don't have to be really super on point with your inputs here. Two more. And then we're on to Final Shell, who can be a real tricky guy if you aren't really fast with your item usage. And if I was gonna play like hyper safe, then I would move my items around, but I'm pretty used to using items that are pages away just by using the L and R buttons faster. And I know that Marl is going to be inflicted with Chaos, so I use a heal on her preemptively. Cure Chrono, make sure he's at good health. full tonic. And wait for a little bit. 2, 3, one more. Cat attack. And then ready your Monka S. We're gonna get maximum levels of Monka. And once more now that Ayla's dead. How can we ever beat him now? We have no control over this now. Except we kind of do because we're manipulating. Oh no, spoiler 2 seconds away. My bad. So, there's actually a strat that you would normally not do for this last part, but I'm gonna try it a couple times. I'm even gonna be super careful and use the shelter. Alright, and save. And I'm doing this at battle speed 1. Normally you would switch to battle speed 4, because doing it on battle speed 1 is stupid. But I'm gonna do it anyway. I got a save there anyway, so I can just try it again. No big deal. But I'm actually the first person to ever do this glitch on battle speed 1 in a run. Well, I already messed up. Doesn't matter. I can just try it again. Just to reload. I forgot to put Frog in my party. Good thing that's not a PB attempt. Oh, you know what? Something else is wrong there. I need to switch the party members if I reload. It's alright. Still got like 13 minutes until the end of my estimate, so we're good. This is only like a 3-minute segment for the rest of the game. Alright, first one's down. I might have just glitched the game a little bit. So what happened there? If anyone's wondering what happened there. There's a weird property with the Green Dream to where if you die in a certain way and get revived in a certain way, your item menu is sort of glitched out. So basically what happens there is you're able to store an elixir in your action menu type thing. And when you release an attack with it, it actually releases the elixir on the enemy. And the reason that's useful is because it also makes if you heal an enemy with I think it's like 1600 oh, I didn't mean to do that, but that's fine. It might not be. Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah, anyway, if you heal an enemy with like 16,384 or something like that HP, then their HP overflows and it actually goes to negative and they die. Anyway. I did the battle speed 1, so that's pretty cool. That's the end of the game.
GG.
Didn't take too many tries on Shell, that was nice.
Well, thank you so much for running this for us.
Thank you for having me. But I think we also have an incentive. Just to be sure, it was met, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Alright. Do we want to skip the credits or keep them rolling? They're not particularly as good as like 100% credits or anything like that.
We can probably skip them then.
Alright. So we're gonna skip that. We're gonna go delete our save files. That's not really as important as starting a new game, but yeah, we're gonna do a thing that is kind of funny. It's not like the craziest glitch in the game, or it is the craziest, probably visually glitch in the game, but other than I guess Elixir glitch, but you already saw that. But it involves Marl, and it's right at the very beginning of the game. I'm gonna switch my controls just because I'm used to the other controls to do fade outs. I guess I'll also rename Luca the way I would normally rename her in a real speedrun. And mess it up. But I am gonna get Meow, which is always important. And the first couple minutes are the exact same as you would expect from the game, you know. Getting the characters and progressing the story. Alright, and here it comes. As soon as we get through the candy cutscene. Just kidding, baited. Baited myself. Alright, here we go. So you might notice that there's two Marls here. That's normal, don't worry about that. I know Jerry's happy about this. Never have too much Marl. It's not done yet, though. There's more to it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here continuing. Oh, whoops. At least we have another one. So she's actually in a state called a breakaway right now. It's kind of weird that this happens. This is one of the ways that we achieve Lavo Shell Skip, is to perform a breakaway. That's just a weird coincidence that happens there. So we're gonna head into the portal. But wait. Oh no. Marl's not following us. What's happening? I guess she's just gonna stay there. But there's Marl again. Oh, no, she's gone again. And Chrono's spinning. He's still spinning. Alright, there we go. But wait, there's more. Marl's back. We have her in 600 AD fighting at the beginning of the game. Unfortunately, as the title of the glitch might suggest, I'm soft locked now. I can open my menu and everything and do other stuff, but I can't move. If I had a save anywhere right now, it wouldn't even matter, because even if you resave here, it doesn't give you back control, you'd just be soft locked. So yeah, that's that.
Well, thank you for that. I definitely have never seen that before.
So yeah, that's Chrono Trigger, any percent no LSS. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for
Thank
having
you
me.
again for running it. Yeah, so we do have one more donation that came in towards the end of that run. Cloudy One donated $5. Thank you for running all these great RPGs. Put this towards naming Red 13 Blue XLII for FF7 Hot. All right, so coming up next, we have Lufia 2. We run by the Ellison. That should be absolutely awesome, and I hope you enjoy it. And that's going to be it for me for tonight. I'll catch you all tomorrow morning for LTTP Rando.